Hey everyone, this is Logan from the Willsey Farm channel. Today we're deep in the woods of Rensselaerville, as you can see, on some steep terrain, Willsey Farm property. And I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm going to tell you all my secrets on how we hunt the beautiful chanterelle mushroom. So some things that you want to keep in mind. Never pick a mushroom that you can't identify on the spot. If you're questionable, don't touch it, because after you touch that, you can get spores or maybe some kind of oil or something bad on your fingers, and then you pick up an edible mushroom and it's going to transfer it. So don't use your knife on it, don't pick it up. If you want to use your boot, that's fine, but you're also going to track those spores somewhere else. So the number one thing is safety. Don't eat anything that you can't identify. So chanterelles, as you'll see right here, if you can get down a little bit closer, these mushrooms grow in the Northeast. They're extremely expensive if you were to buy them at a farmer's market, and they grow in the dirt, not on dead wood, not coming out of a branch. They grow in the dirt. Now, what makes these mushrooms so unique is the fact that it takes 10 to 15 years for these mushrooms to develop a relationship with a hardwood tree around them, and it actually bonds the relationship to the root, and from then on, you'll have patches that pop up, as you can see, normally around a 15 to 20 foot circle, depending on how old the patch of chanterelles is, that will pop up. So it's an easy way to identify a chanterelle. Yellowish to orange color. And the main thing, it's only confused with one other mushroom. So the main thing that you have to worry about is gills versus ridges. A portobello or something like that will have gills underneath it, where you can see a clear start and stop of the little fins underneath the cap of the mushroom. If you look closely to the chanterelle, you'll see that these ridges start as very thin, get bigger as they go up the stem all the way to the cap. That's how you know that this is a real chanterelle, not a jack-o'-lantern as they're called. And these are safe to eat. The second thing that you have to keep in mind when you're picking them, other than the gills, is the time of year. Late June to the end of August is about the entire chanterelle season. If you're out other than that, I wouldn't recommend picking them or eating them, because they could be something false, even though they look very similar to what you think you ate in August. So just keep that in mind. There's a lot of arguments on whether to cut the chanterelle or to pick it, like break it off at the stem. It really doesn't matter. I haven't seen any difference in the way that they return. You'll see, as they've been sitting in the woods for a while, the worms and things, slugs will get to them and they become kind of dried out. It's not even worth keeping those, really. No one wants to eat that. But if you just look around you, after you spot one, if you just look carefully, don't be afraid to move some branches and some leaves out of the way, and you can uncover a patch of mushrooms that you couldn't see before. And these are beautiful, brand new, perfect. Nothing's touched them yet. Perfectly white stems, nice ridges on them. And it doesn't mean that a chanterelle can't grow underneath a dead piece of wood in the woods. But you have to know and confirm that it's coming from the dirt. Otherwise, it's probably a false and not worth eating. And if you just carefully look around, you'll start to find more and more. And they grow in patches. That's another easy way to identify them. Just take a second and look around you. If there's only one of them, as far as you can see, it's probably not a chanterelle. Or if it is, it's a brand new patch. These are all dried out, not really worth keeping. And the third tip that I'm going to give you is to start at the bottom. Work your way back up, because as the leaves fall and erosion comes downhill, they cover up the mushrooms on the top side. But if you're looking from the bottom up, you can spot the orange easier and it'll stand out easier to you. So what I do is I take a 15-yard section of a hill and work across it, then move up 15 yards, work across that, and then keep going back and forth. They won't grow in evergreens. They need hardwoods, things like poplar and oak, they grow really good with. So that's another thing to look for when you're just walking through the woods. And have fun picking, guys. Cheers. Hey guys, so I was out here yesterday and I got some video on picking chanterelles, but a couple things that I realized last night that I forgot to add in the video, so I thought I'd come back out and pick some more and also explain a couple more things in detail a little bit better. So other than knowing the time of year between June and the end of August on when to go out and pick them, there's certain things in the weather that you can look out for also. Things like a severe rain or thunderstorm happening, and then a few days, 2 to 3, of extreme heat and humidity really brings these mushrooms out. Another thing is that mushrooms normally grow by other mushrooms, as weird as it sounds. If you see a mushroom and it's not a chanterelle, not necessarily to touch it, but to look at it and then slowly examine and expand off of that area. Alright guys, I just stumbled across a new patch with Jared. We were just walking through the woods and we just found another one, so I'm going to show you guys what I mean by patch. If you can see, here's one here, there's another one next to it. You come up the hill a little bit farther, there's a couple more, there's another one right here, another right there, whole patch here. And then if you just start separating out the leaves, another one, another couple here, pull back the leaves here, there's more, there's more here. You can't be afraid to get down in the dirt, start moving some leaves around. Make sure you have bug spray on that prevents against ticks, because once you find them, they're just about everywhere. So don't be afraid to start moving some leaves and you'll be surprised what's underneath them. One last thing that I also forgot is that if you're going out in the woods, I've tried this before to, let's say you find a patch of chanterelles, but they're small, like roughly this big. And it's a small chanterelle, and you think, well, it's relatively new. What if I were to wait 2 days, 3 days, and then come back out? Don't do it, because the mushroom will dry out. As much as you think the weather is going to agree with you, this mushroom's going to dry out and there's not going to be anything to harvest. So what I've found is when you see a mushroom, pick it. As long as you know what it is, take it with you, because there's no better time than the present. You got to pick these things when you see them. And the great thing about these chanterelles is this is my second pick already. The last time I was out here, probably 2.5 to 3 weeks ago, I got about 8 pounds off the farm here. So if you come back out, let's say you picked your whole land and then you have another great period of weather for growing mushrooms, you can go back out and check again, and a lot of times you'll be surprised they're popping up in new places around where you picked them the last time. So use your picking points from the first time you go out and build off of that. Finally, I'm just going to say that this year is the best year to get into it, because it has been awesome all summer long for growing these chanterelles. I mean, you can go out in the woods just about anywhere and find them, so don't be afraid to go out and give it a shot. This year is a great time to do it, so seize the opportunity, go out and find some chanterelles and enjoy them.